Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, breaking news is shaking the Middle East and stunning world leaders. Israel has suffered one of its biggest military setbacks in Gaza since the start of the conflict. Reports coming in from multiple sources confirm that Israeli defense forces have faced unexpected resistance from Hamas fighters, resulting in significant casualties, destroyed armored vehicles, and a complete disruption of Israel's ground operation plan. The global community is now reacting with shock, as images and videos from Gaza reveal the true scale of this military disaster. What began as a carefully planned offensive has turned into a chaotic scene of retreat, confusion, and unexpected losses. The Israeli government had promised a swift and decisive victory, yet what's unfolding on the ground paints a very different picture. Entire armored convoys have been ambushed, communication lines have been jammed, and drones used for reconnaissance have been shot down with stunning precision. For Israel, this isn't just a tactical failure. It is a major blow to its image as one of the world's most powerful and technologically advanced militaries. Sources from within Gaza report that Hamas used an advanced strategy, combining underground tunnel warfare, coordinated ambushes, and electronic interference. Using a network of pre-dug tunnels that stretch beneath the battlefield, Hamas fighters reportedly emerged behind Israeli lines, catching several units completely off guard. Explosive devices were planted in advance, targeting tanks and armored vehicles. The resulting explosions lit up the night sky over Gaza, a fiery display that sent shockwaves far beyond the battlefield. Eyewitnesses describe scenes of devastation and confusion. Israeli tanks burned for hours, smoke rising high into the air as ambulances and emergency response teams rushed to the area. Gaza's skyline was illuminated by tracer fire and missile trails. As the fighting raged on, even Israeli media, usually cautious with wartime reporting, could not hide the extent of the damage. Some outlets have already begun calling this the worst operational failure of the war so far. What is even more shocking is that this setback came just days after Israel announced that it had gained full control over northern Gaza. The latest confrontation proves otherwise. According to military analysts, Hamas not only survived Israel's assault, it adapted, learned, and countered with precision tactics. The Israeli leadership is now under immense pressure as questions mount over how this could happen despite having one of the most sophisticated intelligence systems in the world. The Israeli cabinet met for emergency talks late last night. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly faced tough questions from within his own ranks, as opposition leaders accused his government of rushing into a war it could not fully control. In Tel Aviv, protests have already erupted, with families of soldiers demanding answers and accountability. Anger and fear ripple through the Israeli public as the nation grapples with a reality it didn't expect, that Hamas remains far from defeated. Meanwhile, Hamas leaders in Gaza have celebrated what they are calling a turning point in the conflict. In an official statement, the group declared that the resistance remains strong and unbroken. They claim to have inflicted heavy damage on Israeli forces and captured several military vehicles and weapons. Footage circulating on social media appears to show Hamas fighters standing atop destroyed Israeli tanks, waving their flags and chanting victory slogans. Whether all of the footage is verified or not, it's clear that the narrative has shifted, and for now, Hamas is holding the momentum. Across the region, reactions have been swift. Iran and Hezbollah have praised the resistance, calling it a sign of divine victory against occupation. In contrast, the United States and European allies have urged restraint, fearing that this escalation could spiral into a much larger regional conflict. Intelligence agencies are now closely monitoring whether Hezbollah or other allied groups in Lebanon and Syria will join the fighting in support of Gaza. What is happening on the ground right now has major implications for the balance of power in the Middle East. Israel's reliance on airstrikes and heavy artillery has failed to neutralize the threat completely. Hamas's ability to resist and regroup after such intense bombardment has shocked even experienced military observers. The group's use of drones, anti-tank missiles, and homemade explosives has made Gaza one of the most dangerous battlegrounds in modern warfare. According to one defense expert, Israel underestimated Hamas's ability to conduct asymmetric warfare. They thought they could eliminate the leadership and destroy the infrastructure, he said. But what we're seeing now is a decentralized, highly mobile resistance force that has learned from every Israeli move. the global media is now focused on the humanitarian side of this escalating crisis. Gaza's civilian population, already suffering from food shortages and blackouts, is now caught in the crossfire once again. Hospitals are overwhelmed, and aid convoys have been delayed due to continuous bombardments. International organizations, including the UN and Red Cross, have called for immediate de-escalation and protection of civilians. But on both sides, the rhetoric remains defiant. In Israel, the atmosphere is tense. Sirens continue to sound across southern cities, as rockets from Gaza continue to target military outposts and border areas. Even as Israel, Iron Dome intercepts most incoming fire. The psychological impact of constant alerts has been immense. Families are sleeping in bomb shelters. Schools remain closed, and the sense of security that once defined daily life in Israel has begun to erode. On social media, the hashtag Gaza Turning Point has begun trending worldwide, with millions debating what this means for the future of the conflict. Supporters of Palestine are calling this a moment of resistance and resilience, while Israeli commentators describe it as a wake-up call for national security and leadership. Political analysts warn that the longer this war drags on, the more unstable the entire region could become. As the fighting continues, both sides are claiming victory, but the reality on the ground tells a more complicated story. Israel's military might is facing a test of endurance and adaptability, while Hamas is trying to turn battlefield success into long-term strategic leverage. Neither side is backing down, and with emotions running high, the potential for further escalation looms large. Behind the scenes, diplomatic efforts are intensifying. Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey have reportedly restarted indirect talks in an effort to broker a temporary ceasefire. However, sources close to the negotiations suggest that neither Israel nor Hamas is ready to compromise. Israel insists on complete demilitarization of Gaza, while Hamas demands the lifting of the blockade and an end to Israeli air. For now, the situation remains volatile. Gaza is once again the center of a geopolitical storm, with global powers watching closely. Will this setback force Israel to rethink its military approach, or will it double down with even greater force? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The world has just witnessed a dramatic shift in this conflict. What was once seen as a one-sided campaign has turned into a prolonged, grinding struggle that could reshape the Middle East for years to come. The world waits, watching Gaza's smoke-filled skyline, wondering what comes next. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.